welcome back to Lammon Customs. So, in honor of what would have been my dad's 83rd birthday, I decided to talk about the surprise car that I bought him for his 80th birthday. Growing up, if you've seen some of the other video stuff, you've heard me talk about my dad. He was a big time, Lincoln Ford Mercury guy. So, he was never big into GM. Of course, his dream car, from the time I was little, the only car I heard him talk about being his dream car was the one that he had back in high school and college, his '59 Mercury they had with his band, the Mystics. I never heard him really talk about any other, car that was a dream car than that, and he always regretted getting rid of his '59 Merc. We'll have more videos and stuff on the '59 Merc saga. Let's just leave it at that for now. My dad loved coming by the restoration shop and check out the different cars I was working on. So one day he swung by and I happened to be working on, I think it was a 55, 56 Chevy, and he told me that his dream car was a 57 Chevy Bel Air. Now, I actually thought he was just joking with me, and I actually started laughing because never once had he ever mentioned any sort of car other than, again, Ford Lincoln Mercury and some Mopars mixed in. So when he had mentioned that stuff, he was just joking around and stuff. But no, he started going into serious detail about a 57 Chevy a classmate of his had back in high school. And keep in mind, this would have been when these cars were new. He was talking about it was all black. It had what he called an iridescent headliner. Talking about the color of the seats and everything and stuff, and how he just loved that car, and that was his dream car. He wanted that car so bad, and he never did end up with a 57 Chevy. He bought a lot of cars, never did buy one. So when I found that he was actually serious about this and it wasn't just a joke, I got kind of a crazy idea. I thought, wouldn't it be cool to surprise him with the 57 Chevy? So over the course of, I'd say about a year, I would ask him questions, about the car, just bring it up in conversation. We'd be talking about cars and stuff in general, and I try to fish information out of him. What type of seats does he like? Does he, like a certain type of steering wheel? Does he like power seats? And he didn't. He wasn't big into like power seats, power windows, all the modern stuff. So I took that to note. He said he really liked lumbar support. So while he's telling me all this, I'm, mentally writing down a list of all the stuff, and I would actually then go home and actually write out everything that he wanted, the type of hubcaps, the type of wheels, you name it and stuff, sound system, everything. So I came up with a build plan for a 57 Chevy. Then it became time to hunt for him, because I knew I wasn't going to find one exactly what he wanted. So I knew the best bet was, hey, working in a restoration shop, might as well do one and build one up for him. So the hunt was to find a good donor car. Had quite a few that I looked at that kind of fell through. Actually ended up going to a junkyard. It's called a U-Pull-It junkyard down near Sioux Falls. And we have another video with me and Junior going to get parts for the 66 Ford F-100. It's the same place. But they have a lot of classic cars there, and I actually found a whole front end for a 57 Chevy. So I ended up buying the front fenders and hood off the 57 Chevy parts car. Somebody else had actually already disassembled it, so it's pretty easy. All I had to do really is just pick them up, load them up, and take them up to the office and pay for them. And I kind of checked out the rest of the 57 Chevy while I was there, but it was kind of picked over pretty good, and the back end was cut off. I was able to find some seats, though, out of a Pontiac, I believe it was a Pontiac G6, and they had manual adjustment for lumbar support and that sort of thing and stuff. And they're in good condition, so I figured grab those as well and load them up, and that'd be the new seats for the 57 Chevy. Slyly, I asked him if he wanted bucket seats, if he preferred that, if he liked bench seats better, just kind of get a overall feel of what he would like. Did he want a manual transmission? Did he like, automatic, that sort of thing. So anyhow, back to the 57 Chevy. Finally found one for sale, and it was a four-door hardtop, which would be the best of both worlds. He said he always liked the four doors and stuff, because it's more practical, and I kind of agree. But the four door hardtop, you get the practicality of more doors, as they call them, be able to get in the back seat, but at the same time, you also have, the hardtop look to it. And I had actually worked on a four-door hardtop car at the restoration shop, so I was familiar with him. His 80th birthday would have been in 2022. And as I think most of you guys know, unfortunately, he got cancer and passed away in 2020. So the car never came to fruition. I'd actually told him, a couple months prior, before he died, that I was working on this project for him. And told him it was supposed to be a surprise for his 80th birthday. Unfortunately, he did not live that long. But the day he died, he died at home at our farm. He passed away, and the funeral home came out to get his body, take it back to prepare it and stuff. And everybody was pretty distraught, of course, and upset, myself included. And they came in, they got his body, they loaded him up, and as they were leaving, we were all staying outside on the deck, and they come, when they got his body. It was just like a Suburban, Chevy Suburban. It wasn't like a hearse or anything. It was just that, kind of incognito sort of thing. Come get that. And as they're going down the driveway and head out to the road, everybody's standing outside, and it is so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Nobody was saying anything. People, everybody's eyes were red and puffy and stuff, because we had been crying, obviously, and stuff. We're just standing there, just kind of in shock still. We knew it was coming, but we're still in shock. And as the car kind of goes down the line, I had to break the ice. I said, "Do you guys hear that?" And everybody kind of just looks at me like what? I said, "That noise." They were just kind of puzzled because they didn't hear anything. I said, "That's the sound of Dad, already spinning in, he's not even in the grave yet. He's already spinning and stuff because his last ride is a Chevy, not a Ford." Everybody burst out laughing. So that was kind of a good way to end that. But yeah, it was the 57 Chevy that unfortunately never was. Well thought out intentions, and that's the one regret. I wish I could have gotten that car done for him so he could have enjoyed it before he passed away. And unfortunately, that didn't happen, and there's not much I can do to change that fact at this point. But it was very well thought out and stuff, and it was just kind of funny, I guess, to me, that his dream car, believe it or not, was a 57 Chevy. And it's amazing. I wish I would have known that years and years ago. Would have made it simpler to find that, because believe it or not, finding a 57 Chevy is a lot easier than finding a 59 Merc. We'll have some stories about the Mercuries as well. So we'll catch you next time here on Lammon Customs.